Attention, Internet! I am Dr. Arcade, and this is Kaiserriech, and you should be watching this glorious screen in an image that actually fills the entire YouTube window. Big shout out to Ret's Rational for helping me bring to you this glorious bit of editing wizardry. Go check out his channel if you haven't already. Just type in Ret's Rational into your YouTube search bar. Anyway, when last we left off, the Second American Civil War started, and the American Union State had just declared its independence. Now I'm gonna let you in on a little something, ladies and gentlemen. I was actually a double agent! For you see, we will actually be playing this game as the American Union State. Because, you see, while there have been many, stories that are published on the internet and on YouTube of people playing this game as the USA, and I've even seen at least one where someone played as the combined syndicates of America, I have yet to see a recording or any sort of records of anyone playing this game as the American Union State. So, my friends, I shall be the illustrious Dr. Arcade, or at least I hope to be illustrious one day, shall be the very first. Now, for those of you who haven't already read the text, I'll read the historical info text for you. With its support coming primarily from the depressed agricultural regions of the South and Midwest, the America First Union Party, why do they have to add party to the end, editor's note? Why not just the America First Union? Anyway, it combines traditional populism with neo-capitalist modes of organization, demanding redistribution of wealth and social welfare, but within a strong, centralized, corporatist economic structure, controlled by a paternalistic economic and political elite. The America First Union is led by Huey Long, Senator for Louisiana. Following the events of the presidential election of 1936, Long declared the independence of the American Union State and led it to its glorious path. Yes, thank goodness. Anyway, here we go! The Declaration of War has plunged the country into war. Okay, we read that same thing last time when I was the United States. Again, rise of the AUS military. The AUS quickly found enough troops eager enough to beat up the syndicalist menace concentrated in the CSA. Rise, my minions! And you see, because, my friends, I was but a double agent, I have not actually told you about technology. See, in this game, you can research technology. Here we have all these tabs. Click on one to research all, to be able to gain access to all the topics you can research. There are numerous ones. So once you've selected one, I will choose Tank 1924. We can click on this bar here to select a research team to research said tech. Research teams are classified by, skill and number of, and their specialties. It's good to have a team on a technology that has more specialties related to the technology you want to research. Also, the ones with high skill are highly desirable. In this case, I want Remington Arms to research post-war Tank 2, so I will select Remington Arms. We will start the project, and there we go. There you have it, friends. Alright. That was my diplomacy screen. Wanted to make sure that nothing big has happened where you get to decide what your starting government is going to be like. But anyway, let me tell you about my grand strategy for winning this war. You see, I have, almost zip for industrial capacity. That's what I start with, as the Union State. The combined syndicates of America are the ones with most of the industrial capacity. 87, their actual industrial capacity, judged, as you can see on this slash, next to their standard industrial capacity, which is industrial capacity devoid of modifiers, which is only 67. Meanwhile, the United States of America only has access to 54 units of industrial capacity. Without all their negative modifiers, they have a total of 139. Alright then. So, in order to, industrial capacity, you see, is very important for, because it judges, how many of the troops you can build at once, how many technologies you can research at once. It's the vital resource for winning the war. And the combined syndicates of America have the advantage in it. And we do not. We have access to only 14 units of industrial capacity. Without modifiers, that brings us down to 13. So, you see, my grand plan is to trash the combined syndicates of America before they get their massive industrial capacity rolling and build up an army that can be capable of winning this war. To do that, my strategy is to split the combined syndicates in two. Specifically, to capture and hold the key territories of Fort Wayne and Grand Rapids. This will separate the western half of the combined syndicates from the eastern half, which will cut off supply to the eastern territories, allowing me to basically have my way with combined syndicate forces in that area. So, to win a war, you must capture your enemy nation's capital, which in our case is Chicago. Two enemies' capitals are Chicago and Washington. Our capital is Atlanta, down here. Must capture. Basically, your enemy must hold neither its capital nor any territories with victory points, which in this version of the map are the ones in red, because we are at war with those countries. Victory points in countries we are at peace with are in green. Well, anyway, that's a basic rundown of how war works in this game. Oh yeah. Works in this game. Sign armies, take territory, get victory points. That's how you win the war. Alright. The majority of my push is going to be directed up towards Louisville. I'm basically going to be pushing through western Kentucky and Indiana to get to Fort Wayne and Grand Rapids. So that's where the bulk of my forces will be headed. Finally. The 1st Union Corps here. Gonna move him to Nashville and... No, wait, no I'm not. Gonna get a better general in charge. This is like the vital mission. I better make sure my best guy's in charge. That guy's gonna... It's gonna be George Patton, friends. Yes! General slap the guy in the guardhouse Patton is gonna lead the charge to Fort Wayne. In other country, everywhere else, I'm just gonna, you know, adopt a defensive stance. Oh, forgot. Gonna have my game speed set up to extremely fast now. Because, my friends, there's an event coming up which I want to participate in. And in order to have any chance at all of participating in it, I have to get control of the American Union stage as early as possible. Or at least I had to. Which is why, towards the end of my time as the United States, I lowered the game speed. Alright then, so there was more troops. Alright, North Carolina, Florida, Arkansas, and Louisiana joined the American Union state. The state legislators have voted to join the American Union state. They were welcomed with open arms, as they would help in the struggle for a stronger and more fiercely American America. Great. And this, my friends, is the event that I wanted to participate in. Foundation of the Union State. New Orleans, our beloved leader, Huey Long, today addressed the nation, proclaiming the inauguration of a new Union State over America. which will organize the productive and social resources of the nation, end social conflict, maintain peace and order, and eliminate all enemies of the Republic. This bold new initiative shall be headed by... And here we have our options. In box number 1 is Charles Lindbergh, a popular man of the people. He seeks to run a socially conservative government with Democratic slider set to rank 6 and political left slider set to rank 3, which means basically a politically right government. Hawk lobby set to 4. I'll tell you all about those sliders as soon as this decision is over. But you know, he's the most democratic guy you have. In addition to changing cabinet around, he decreases national dissent by 5%, increases your manpower by 25. With Gerald, and in option box number 2, there's Gerald L.K. Smith to overhaul the economic and political system. Democratic. He sets the Democratic slider to 5, the political left slider to 2, the Open Society slider to 5, moves domestic policies 1 towards central planning, sets Hawk lobby to 6, sets interventionism to 2, raises manpower by 50%. In option box number 3, Father Charles International Conspiracy of Jewish Bankers Coughlin will promote a paternal corporate state. Sets the Democratic policy slider to 4, sets the political left slider to 2, sets the Open Society slider to 4, moves domestic policies 2 levels towards central planning, sets Hawk lobby slider to 6, sets interventionism slider to 3, increases national dissent by 5%, and increases manpower by 100. Oh, increases national dissent by only 5%. Because increasing national dissent by 50% would be game-breakingly bad. Sorry, I need to get a drink of water here. And finally, in option box number 4, Fritz Kuhn will root out sedition and enemies of the Republic. That sets our Democratic policy slider to 2. Sets the political left slider to 1. Sets the Open Society slider to 2. Moves domestic policies +3 towards central planning. Sets Hawk lobby to 7. Sets interventionism to 5. Increases national dissent by 10%, but increases manpower by 120 units. So yeah, we have 4 options. Moving down will make each choice of government you have more authoritarian. This will increase national dissent the more authoritarian the government you go with, but more authoritarian governments yield more manpower. I will choose Gerald L.K. Smith. And with that... Oh wait, let me read this for you. The American Union state government has come into possession of resources that were left behind. They will help our government in the future. Excellent. Which gives us major resource boosts. Virginia and Tennessee have joined the American Union state. Virginia and Tennessee have joined the American Union state in their effort to secure a better future for America. They will be a great asset to the new struggle. Right. So let me tell you about our government, folks. This is the American Union State. It is an authoritarian democracy. You know, what basically that kind of thing is determined by your democratic, authoritarian, and political left or right sliders. As you can see, we are in a war. Let's see our cabinet now. Our head of state is Huey Long. He's an authoritarian Democrat Southern demagogue. Our head of government, Gerald K. Smith, the political protege. His only real asset is loyalty to Huey Long here. So, yeah. We got that. For our foreign minister, we have Father Charles Coughlin, the ideological crusader, viewing himself as a devoted proponent of paternal autocracy, which is, as you can see in the parentheses, is his ideology. Our armaments minister is Henry Ford. You all know who he is. The guy who created Ford automobiles. We have Prescott Sheldon Bush as our Minister of Security. Laissez-faire capitalist, he is. Gerald L. K. Smith as our Head of Intelligence. We have Larry K. Arnold as our Chief of Staff. The Maneuver and Spear, this is upon warfare. General George S. Patton as our Chief of the Army. William Hazley is our Chief of the Navy. And Charles Lindbergh is our Chief of the Air Force. Here we have our sliders. The Democratic versus Authoritarian slider. There affects partisan activity, declaration of war dissent, and the amount of dissent you get from declaring war, and the amount of dissent you get from releasing puppets. Ours is somewhat authoritarian. Here you have the political left versus political right slider. No, doesn't really do much except occasionally change ministers in the ruling cabinet. We are very much a politically right-wing government. Here we have open versus closed society. It affects dissent growth, tech team salary, dissent in national provinces, dissent in occupied provinces, army counterintelligence, and domestic counterintelligence. We are somewhat closed, which results in, you know, some boring statistics you could probably read for yourself if you just pause the video. Our free market versus central planning slider, it affects our several economic things, which I won't go into here. Our standing versus drafted army slider, affecting unit organization. See, basically standing armies get better tech, but with drafted armies, you can produce more. Hawk versus Dove lobby affects dissent growth, manpower growth, and cost of diplomatic actions. And our interventionism versus isolationism slider, which basically affects, you know, whether or not we can do certain things and what it costs to do them. We are quite isolationists. Quite the isolationists. Which means we can't really do much on the world stage, but it doesn't matter at this point. We need to fight a war. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna move most of what we have up to Nashville because I want to end this war quickly, and it's not too other side, and what they've got isn't too much of a threat to us now. Yeah, we can purge the army. I'm not gonna do that right now. Anyway, Fritz Kuhn has submitted a plan to start a youth foundation in the AUS and is looking for approval. The foundation would show adolescents the purpose of America first and teach them discipline above all things and loyalty to the new state. We're in need of new recruits, and Fritz Kuhn's youth foundation may be part of the solution. We can let Kuhn have his daycare for a boost in manpower growth and a flat manpower bonus. Or we could say we don't feel comfortable about this and have nothing happen. I'm going to let Kuhn have his daycare. Old Southern money. The old gentlemen and corporate barons. I'm recording too much, I can't read. Of the South have thrown their significant monetary resources behind the new state. Outstanding, I say. We get a major flat money boost, which is a resource. Whoa, okay, I'm getting ambushed by text boxes. Arlington. Ooh, California's declared independence along with Oregon and Washington. Let's see what they're gonna do. And the United States of America declared war on them. That's a relief, because sometimes what happens is the Pacific States of America will join forces with the federal government and attempt to take me down along with the syndicalists. Our enemies divide themselves even more, friends. They won't last. We can't expect them to last long. Not against our unity and my strategic brilliance. Cuban volunteers have arrived to assist us in our battle with the CSA. Excellent. Alright, men. Go take Louisville for me. And wait. We lost Arlington. Wow. One Shreveport. Lost Lafayette. Curses. I'm gonna stop this right here. So, this is Dr. Arcade signing off.